and I can't like take you guys.
It's all different.
They're big numbers. Countdown.
And hopefully you're watching Around Comics. I don't really know because we're trying a new system that may or may not be working correctly. I have no idea.
Who knows? It might not.
It may not work at all.
On the fly, we're winging it. New software.
We'll see.
Anyone on the video that can chat,
confirm? Yeah, anyone watching
confirm that they see us, hear us, all that stuff would be wonderful.
GP said, this by now, I suppose, but this Biz doesn't work on Android devices or non-Chrome browsers on a PC. But I see you. Okay, so it is working. All right. Well, we're just testing it out. This may be the last time we use it. We'll see. But welcome to Around Comics episode number 390. And what's up, fellas? What's going on?
Hey,
I have a giant book in my way. Oh boy, what a day! What a day!
Really? It was like Monday all day today.
Yeah. Monday. Like I got a giant book over here too. Look, I got this.
Whoa! Yeah. Fourth World Omnibus.
That's just the biggest book within reach.
That's a big book.
It's an unreadable. It's so huge. There's no why.
Has anyone actually ever read an omnibus? Like 50 of them behind me, in my room. I don't know. I've read like a few select stories out of them. I don't know if I've ever sat down and put a bookmark and said, I'm going to read the first 35 issues of Amazing Spider-Man.
I'll be honest. I don't know that I have an entire room full of
books you've never read.
Books that I've never looked at again. I've purchased and
never looked at them ever again.
Never looked at them again. I have hundreds and thousands of dollars probably of
never to be seen.
No. Oh well, what are you gonna do? We are live on YouTube as well. It seems like a weird format. I don't know. This might be the last time that we go on this platform. I wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Riverside.
This Archie comment, is this like a Riverdale tie-in?
Riverside.
It's a Riverside.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Speaking of Archie comics, did you see Segura left Archie and is he's over at Oni now. Alex Segura.
I thought you meant Tom Segura, the comedian. I was like, Tom Segura?
No,
what is Tom Segura?
Loves Archie comics. Always has.
Tom, your mic is hot. I don't know what's but you are
blasting. I haven't done anything.
I've changed
literally the same. I've changed nothing.
Okay.
Before we get into other stuff, I did want to make a note that I received a Kickstarter from a former guest of the show. If you remember Jason Gonzalez, Jay Gonzo.
Well, I should be getting mine soon then too.
Yeah, the La Mano del Destino, his Spanish English flip book. It's really nice. It turned out great. It's he's such a designer, and it really has a designer's eye in it. If you're interested at all in the process of how to visually make a comic book, he breaks down his entire art process from beginning to end, and it has all of the printing information, all of that stuff. It's really, really cool. Goes into a lot of color theory, how he inks, how he flats,
some nerdy shit.
Basically the layered process for creating a comic book page. It's
in-depth.
It's edutainment.
Edutainment. We never had an edutainment theme song. As much as we use that term, we should have some sort of the more you know. Maybe I'll rip off that stinger. I do. With the new
Ground pound is
platform,
edutaining you.
with the new platform, there is some built-in sounds
Let's
into the. Yeah, I can. Let's see. What do we got here?
see what we got.
We got some
Boing.
clapping.
Thank you.
We got a drum roll. I don't know why.
We can't.
I'm gonna use this one all the time. A laugh track.
People laughing hard.
Yeah, gotta use that.
Yeah. Yeah. How you guys doing? Good weekend. We're all ready for some playoff baseball. Is this the first time that all three of our teams have been in the playoffs same year?
I think maybe yes. Yeah. Well, the White Sox are the stragglers, I think, on that. So yeah, I think this is of course.
Mine will most likely be the first one to bow out, but that's okay.
You have the toughest road for sure at this point, having squeaked in and having to play a one-game play-in.
5 games up in the wild card.
Well, sometimes you this whole wild card thing. I don't know. You don't win a division. I don't know why you get in the playoffs.
All of the Dodger fans that are having to watch their 106 win team go into a 1-game playoff, they're losing their minds, and I find that hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of crazy, but yeah,
it's not about being fair. Sports ain't fair.
It's entertainment, man. It's showbiz.
Yeah, it's showbiz.
Not
go win your one game.
So Tom, I'll bring up our last episode of ACTV. I had a great time talking with Sal on Sunday, and you're talking about joining us. Is that going to happen? Are we going to see you for some TV talk?
At some point when I'm not or exhausted from a Packers game on a Sunday, too drunk or full of food to coherently speak.
So. Yeah,
we'll get
luckily,
there.
I don't have a football team I root for, so I don't have to worry about this at all.
About Sundays.
I'm at the dentist yesterday, and my dental. I live in Milwaukee, and so the hygienist says, "So did you watch the game yesterday?" And I looked at her and I said, I'm a recovering Bears fan, and she just didn't miss a beat. Didn't say, didn't phase her. She's like, "Yeah, I just don't know if I like Aaron Rodgers' hair this year." I'm like,
long. It's apparently for a Halloween costume.
He doesn't look good. I will say that. Like, this is the worst I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers just look.
Yeah.
He looks like, I think the offseason kind of drained him a little bit. Yeah. Like, took something.
He looks old.
He looks old.
There's speculation up here that the hair and everything is he's working into a Halloween costume that he's been planning for a while.
No, he looks old now.
Yeah, he looks a little, but he's still playing well, still playing good. I mean,
not as old as Ben Roethlisberger though, who looks like he died 4 years ago. Enough sports talk.
There you go.
Enough sports talk. Yeah.
AC Sports Talk for the week. Let's talk some comics. I think Tom had a couple choices, and I did read one of them.
I read both of them.
Did you? I
read
one of them.
Whoa! Just because I picked them, or because
no, I had read them before you had picked them. I had read.
Oh, well, I mean, one of them we've talked about like 100 times.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, yeah.
But I was very much looking forward to the other one.
The Batman versus
Bigby,
Wolf in Gotham. What'd you think?
I was disappointed. I was a big Fables fan. I loved that book. I was very excited when they announced that the series was coming back. I was excited when they announced this crossover sort of thing to get it into the DC universe. I thought, Batman versus Bigby would be a cool thing to do. There's a lot of opportunity there. You have two very sort of similar kind of characters in a lot of ways. They're both detectives. They're both grumpy, dark. They have certain qualities about them that are similar. So I thought, this should be a really interesting kind of thing. And then I read it, and I was kind of disappointed by it. I thought the story was, it felt old. It felt dated, like weirdly, like out of
a
time.
Bronze Age Batman story.
Yeah.
He writes Batman weird.
He writes
Yes.
Batman like Frank Miller writes Batman.
Like, yeah, and
Very
it's like
angry Batman.
I should say I really dug the art. And I thought like
great.
that style of I thought like the way it was like very storybookish was actually kind of cool. But like when it's weird. I think I mean the thing about him sounding like the way Frank Miller writes him actually is crystallized the thing that I had a hard time wrapping my head around. Sort of like the art versus the way Batman sort of behaves is very just like I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. I don't know what it was like.
I wonder though if it's a DC. Is it a DC mandate for Batman? Because if you look at like the Titans show, Batman is a very flawed character. He's not.
Yeah.
He's and I wonder if DC is sort of pushing Bruce Wayne Batman in this direction of like, he's passe a little bit. He's an old timer. I don't know. I don't know if it was just Bill Willingham's version of Batman or it was a weird. I mean, it is a Black Label book.
Yeah. So it's like
it's its own thing, I guess. But
I do have a question.
Yes.
What the hell Robin was that?
That's a good question because
was that Tim Drake, because he at one point refers to Tim Drake being somewhere else.
I assumed it was Damian because I just always assumed
it shows Damian in the cloak and everything later, but that should I think that's a typo is what it is. I think he was supposed to be saying that Damian and Stephanie were
it was
weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very strange because I was like,
it looks like Dick Grayson.
Yeah, which means it's Tim Drake, unless in this universe Dick Grayson is still Robin and Tim.
But then also I think
whatever.
I might have liked it more if there was more Bigby in it.
Yeah, there wasn't very much Bigby. He barely was in it at the end, but the whole tone of the book was just odd. It was like they introduced this female Jim Gordon character that's dressed identically to him in a weird way, like wearing a trench. Like, do all police officers and wear trench coats and hats? Like,
also, part of me was like, am I missing? I haven't picked up a Fables thing in a long time. Am I missing some sort of like
the villain? I don't know who the villain is.
Yeah, where I'm like, am I just not remember? Or is this something?
No,
I don't know.
So I think so.
Maybe I was carrying. Sometimes you carry too much baggage into something, and you're looking for something that's not meant to be there. But yeah, it was a weird. It was just like a weird tone, and it like it was strange. I was like, have I ever read Bill Willingham write Batman? Is this his Batman, and I'm not exactly down with it.
Yeah,
but
there's one thing I really liked about it, and it goes to the art. There's the one frame where it's the guy who's going to torture and it's the scene where he has the knife in front of his face.
Yeah,
it's like perfectly over his eye, and you see the reflection of the terrified eye. Of the guy he's gonna kill. And I thought that was that's one of the few panels that I will stop and actually study for a while. It taught me. So that was one cool art thing in the book.
I'll probably try and read the next one just to see if my brain, if I'm just having a hard time figuring out like what the tone is or who because I was like, it's because I'm not one that's like, this isn't what Batman sounds like, that's not my usual reaction to something. It's like, oh, but that was my reaction. It was like a bad cop. I was like, what? Like, there was, I don't know, the thing where he said like, you know what it was? Like the one sequence that made me like, I was like, what the fuck what is this? It was like, half the force wants me to be in on the payments, and half the force wants to like, I forget what the other example was, but it seemed like such a weird, like, I don't know, like it felt like not a great description of Batman, his relationship to the police. Like it felt dated. That would very specifically felt very like, I'm like, what? Like that's a weird way of like,
so which one are you, Tom?
Yeah, like it felt like a really weird interaction that I was just like,
Yeah, it was a clunky scene.
I was like, what? Like, does half the force want to give Batman like part of the bit? Like it just felt, it felt like, it felt old fashioned as a way of
it did.
It did, which
the whole book felt old fashioned. The introduction of the villain, the idea of the villain was very almost campy, almost like, you know, just this. It's like, okay, I get it. Fables is all about literature and the idea, but it's like, do we really have to have this sort of odd villain that all of his goons are named after, you know, famous authors, and it just,
that's cool, but that can't be all it's about.
Yeah, and but the problem was they didn't give you a whole lot else, right? Like there wasn't a whole lot of meat to it. And artistically, I mean, I think maybe I was so, you know, like the Fables books before, you know, there was multiple artists on it. Obviously who was the artist on it? Willingham.
Yeah.
Right? Or is that the writer?
No.
Willingham and oh gosh.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, it was another name that was sort of like Willingham. It was like Bill Willingham and Will Billingham. Something like that.
I don't have any of my Fables books here.
But they had other
Mark Buckingham.
Buckingham, yeah.
Buckingham. Yes. Willingham and Buckingham. There you go.
Both a couple of
I like Tony Aiken's run on the
absolutely.
Jack of Fables was great.
Tony Aikens, but all the artists were really good, and I thought felt the stories much better than this artist does. I thought this artist was, you know, a little inconsistent at times. Like there were these weird texture parts of Batman's costume that changed from scene to scene. Like sometimes his boots looked like stone, sometimes they look like leather, sometimes they look like something that isn't real, like some sort of weird, you know, and it was, and I think that was a big part of my problem with the book too, of just like, this wasn't what I was expecting from a Fables book, because they were always so good. You know, the art was always such a high point for the books, and I don't know. It was not that was not for me. It was a little disappointing. I'll check out the second issue to see, like you said, Tom, if there's some better meat to it, but I don't know. Yeah, it was I didn't love it, and I wanted to love it. I really wanted to love this book. That was the sort of sad part of it. I was like,
oh, this is a cool idea, and then I was like,
yeah. I'll read Rorschach now.
I don't know. The Rorschach.
I stopped reading Rorschach after like issue 4, because I was like, nah, I'm gonna read this all at once when it's collected.
You dirty trade waiter.
I am. I'm a dirty trade.
Yeah. Waiting to read it all in one chunk.
Well, I read all the issues, but I feel like I have to read it all again anyway. So
I was just saving myself time, Sal.
I have to reread everything again. 12 issues is a long you know, like it's a long time.
I think okay, listen, I'm almost reluctant to say anything negative about the book, because I love Tom so much, and he's such a, you know, great guy, and I love his work genuinely, and I think he's a very talented writer. But at the end of this 12 issues of this book that's called Rorschach, I just sit there and wonder, what the fuck does this have to do with Rorschach in any way? I couldn't find, other than there are a couple of characters that wear the costume, that wear the mask, that are sort of pretending to be Rorschach, or there's this idea that Rorschach isn't dead. It's a very thin, to me, it felt like an incredibly thin connection to the character Rorschach in any way. I just didn't feel like if you were writing a 12-issue series entitled Rorschach that was based in the Watchmen universe, that was somehow connected to the original book, and in the universe, you know, whatever it was 20 years later or whatever, I think it should have had a tighter connection to that character in some way. And I just feel like at the end of it, and maybe it's me, maybe I've admitted in the past, sometimes I just don't understand Tom's work. Maybe I'm not smart enough, but at the end of 12 issues, I'm like, what the fuck did this have to do with Rorschach? Why? It didn't seem like it should have been titled Rorschach in any way. Not that it wasn't a good story and an interesting execution of a murder mystery, and a disturbing sort of commentary on, you know, like mental health and the effects of you know, gigantic cataclysmic events on a society. In that way, it felt like it was connected to Watchmen as a whole, but I just didn't feel like there was any connection to Rorschach. Like I just didn't get it. Did I miss something?
I was gonna say, I think I actually liked it because it wasn't that tied to Rorschach. But no, I mean, because to me, it's like I guess, like, in thinking about it, right? Like the way the book kind of strikes me at is, you know, I was, you know, after I had reread all of it, I went back and, like, I don't know, I was just kind of Googling interviews about it. And there was an interview in Newsarama where Tom King was talking about, you know, Watchmen's kind of timeless, right? Like the original Watchmen's kind of timeless, but it wasn't born timeless, right? It's born out of a very specific time, right? And, like, you know, Alan Moore, you know, if he ever talked about comics, and maybe he's talked about this before, right? There's parts of the, you know, the original Watchmen that are very much about, like, maybe someone in 1986 kind of feeling like, oh fuck, like some bad shit's about to go down, and this is sort of like a thought about, like, what that means, right? And you look at, like, a character like Rorschach, who's really sort of like, you know, in the British version, you know, sort of a piss take on the, you know, on sort of a Ditko-esque approach, right? Like Rorschach, sort of that, like, oh, so, you know, if you think this, here's like sort of a, you know, a take on what it's like if someone really was so certain that they knew, like, what right and wrong was. Like, this kind of person's a fucking lunatic, right?
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah,
you wouldn't like him, right? You know, so I think, to me, I kind of look at this as, like, very much of the time that maybe we live in now too, where it's like, you know, it's, you know, sort of maybe coming face to face with the idea that, like, some bad shit's going down right now, like, you know, depending on your point of view on how our political system is currently working, or how anything is working in our society. You might be slightly frightened that totalitarianism is not as far away as you think it is. You know,
I thought it was 6 years ago.
you know, where, you know, like, all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, things don't work the way you think things don't work the way they're supposed to work. And it was kind of funny because that actually made me think about the book a lot differently, because, like you said, it doesn't have, I think, a really tight tie to the original Rorschach at all, other than, like, the idea of Rorschach, or people thinking that they have some sort of clarity into what is right or wrong, right? Of, like, whether it's the pirate comics artist who thinks, like, suddenly, like, I have clarity into what's right or wrong, and now I must take action to do the right or wrong thing, you know? not to spoil the end of it, but sort of the same thing happening with the detective suddenly thinking that he has clarity into what is right and wrong, and that now I must take action to do this thing that I think is the correct thing to do. And it's all wrapped up in violence, right? And it's all wrapped up in like that sort of, it's so paranoid, right? The whole book is paranoid. It's like double crosses, and like the idea that, at least I found myself being like, well, I don't know, right? You start off with the book being like, oh, these two people who are trying to assassinate this presidential candidate, obviously they're kooks, and they're insane, and they have a history of violence, and they have some sort of mental issue, right? And the way the book is sort of laid out to me is, at least I feel like it's easy for me to fall into the trap of thinking the detective at the end did the right thing, right? Where it's like, all of a sudden I'm suddenly like, am I sure that he did? Yeah, I'm like, am I sure he did the right? Like, is he any less of a kook than the people that we were willing to write off earlier in the book as being like, who, like, it's just like these people from these broken backgrounds who have fallen into like these patterns of violence and are being manipulated by forces maybe they don't totally understand, right? And the whole specter of the squids, right? And like this idea that like nothing is real, you know, you can never know the motives of anything, right? And I think, to me, that was the thing that I liked about the book, you know, that in the end, I kind of felt like I was questioning myself, because I was like, yes, the detective did the correct thing. But I'm like, did he? Like, do I know that he did? You know, like, have I fallen into the trap of like,
it's an interesting point, because that does, I mean, I think in hindsight, looking back at Rorschach, we make fun of the idea of like, oh, people like loved Rorschach as a hero, and people treated Rorschach as a hero. But it's like, if you look at Rorschach, it's like, no, that wasn't, I don't think that's what Alan Moore intended, right? Like, that was never what he intended Rorschach or any of those characters to really
He was very off put by fans who would say that he was their favorite character, and he's like, are you kidding me? He was a psychopath.
But at the same time, I've often said that there is something about Rorschach that is admirable, in the sense that I can understand why people admire him from the standpoint of he was willing to sacrifice himself for the beliefs that he had. There is something, in a twisted way, admirable about Rorschach from that perspective of like, he believed that he knew what was right and wrong, and he was willing to die because of that. So
there is no greater good that is more important than the truth.
Right. That was sort of, and so I can understand why people were sort of attracted to that. And it's also this sort of thing like, well, who was right and who was, I mean, that's the whole thing of Watchmen, right? Like, that's the whole question of Watchmen is, who's right? Who is right in that book? Is there anyone that is actually right? And that's a good point that you bring up now with this, of that connects to that in that way.
Yeah, well, you know, what's interesting about this is, like, in the original Watchmen, as a reader, you do know what happened, right? Like, you are connected on some level to, like, you know that, you know, Asmodeus did this and did that, and like people. But what's weird about the Tom King, eventually you do. You walk away from that being like, I know, like, I, as an observer of this story, like, I am clued into like reality, right?
Yeah, you know.
But I don't think
there's no more mystery.
But I'm not entirely certain you walk away from this one knowing the total truth of it. Like, it's almost like this version of it is even more detached from that. Like, now it's like you don't even know like what the truth is. You don't even know,
which
like,
is very timely and topical.
Yeah,
what is the truth anymore?
It's a Sopranos ending.
No, not. I mean, not like that. Like, there's an ending, right? But it's much more wrapped up in the idea, I think, of
You don't know
like,
what right or wrong is.
Yeah, you're
what is
like,
yeah.
because there's so many twists and turns, and by the time you get to the end, in the moment that's supposed to feel like this moment of clarity, and you can feel that, be like, yes, our hero did the right thing, and then you're sort of like, well, I don't know.
See, I didn't have that feeling. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, he went as crazy as they did.
yeah,
He was infected by some sort of virus.
yeah,
It
yeah,
almost seemed like,
yeah, yeah,
went crazy. That's the. But I see what you're saying. Absolutely, of like, that is a really you've helped to explain. The funny thing is, I knew I didn't dislike the book. I mean, I liked the book. I
yeah,
love the idea that it's. I mean, it feels very much like a 1970s movie of
yeah,
paranoia and distrust. I mean, like All the President's Men, where there's this,
yeah,
there's constant paranoia, and you're always looking over, and you don't know who to trust. You don't know who's right or who's wrong or who's
A
telling the truth or
conspiracy.
who's lying. Yeah, it's very conspiratorial, and it had a very 1970s feel to
yeah,
it, which I love. So I liked the book. It was
yeah.
just this idea of like, I could see why people would fucking hate this because
Oh,
it's
yeah,
called Rorschach.
totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's in a way, it's almost like there aren't even the Watchmen. There's none of that in this universe. This universe is all that stuff is gone.
Yeah.
Right. There's no hint of any. That's all something in the past. Right. And it's like, so you don't even have the clarity of like like a thing like a Dr. Manhattan to sort of wrap your head around. It's almost like they just live in the aftershock of what happened, and it's just like
this follows the HBO series. Yes.
Yeah, it acknowledges that the HBO series existed, and it has that feel of like, this is the afterward. This is what happened after, right? Like, this thing happened, and now the world is got to deal with that, and like, things aren't better. Like, it's very right. So it's so
it didn't fix everything. So
everything.
Ozymandias,
Yeah,
his theory that this would unite the world and fix the world's problems did not come true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because people are people.
Yeah, and the art was fucking awesome in it, and I loved like
it fit perfectly,
and like the coloring and like the way like they were able, like, when they did complicated stuff, like they made it uncomplicated, right? There's like moments in the last couple of issues where two different things are happening at the same time, but between art and color, they're able to, it's clear, right? Like, that's not what's going to leave you confused. Like, they don't the twists and turns leave you disoriented about like what you think is happening, but it's not like disoriented from like, I literally can't decipher what's happening on the page, which is a feat.
But I will say
something.
There were multiple times in this 12 issues that I had to go back and read through issues again.
Yeah,
it's like understood. Okay, issue 8, I got to read 5, 6, and 7 so that I understood 8.
Yeah, to remember what the sequence of what happened or why, and it's also like, it's 12 issues, right? But it's also kind of a little sprawling at times, in that it's not like a super tight mystery. Like, you definitely go down these weird paths.
Very weird.
Yeah, where you're just like, what's happening? Like, and at the end, it sort of like kind of wraps itself up in a nice little neat mystery, but kind of not, right? So I look forward to whatever super nice collected edition.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to order the hardcover. I think it comes out.
I'm going to pre-order it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think it comes out in this month, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm absolutely going to order it. Like I said, my hesitation to say anything negative about it, because I didn't want people to think that I didn't enjoy it, because I was fascinated by it, and it's a huge swing of a book. Like, it's a gigantic, it does everything I ask for in comics, which is like take chances and risk something and to give me something different. It's just it's also just like,
Yeah.
Ooh, is it too big of a swing? Is it too,
Yeah.
like, but hey,
You bite too much off it. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, I don't know. I read it and then it took me a while to kind of think about what I actually thought about it. Because
that's
I had to
rare.
reread it. Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
rare in comics, right?
I was like, what do I actually think of this book that I read, as opposed to like the knee jerk reaction to it? Because I think comics are so, they're built to be disposable. Like, there's another one coming out next month, right? That's like the in the DNA of it is like nothing sticks around.
Just keep going. Just keep
Keep
churning.
going. Yeah, there's gonna be another Spider-Man story next month. Don't worry. Like, there'll be another Superman story. Like, so it's interesting to be sort of read something where you're like, I gotta like digest this for a little bit before I get too before I get too involved.
Releases on December 7th.
And then when Adam Strange wraps up, we can finish all of our long-term books we've been talking about for a long time.
We have a year-long
and commitment to talking about Adam Strange constantly.
We'll do the year of Tom King. We'll just do a recap. But
which one was better, Strange Adventures or Rorschach?
Well, there's so much of Tom King's vision work in WandaVision, so you can almost throw that in there.
He's everywhere.
He is.
He's everywhere.
He haunts us.
I read an interesting book that I had to think about a little bit as well. It was an image book written by Patrick Kindlon, Kindlon, and art by Marco Ferrari. It's called The Frontiersman, and the first issue came out last week. And the back matter, it starts off basically telling you that their goal of this book is to be the best superhero comic on the stands every month. And it was good. It was interesting. It was definitely a superhero comic, but a different kind of superhero comic. So basically you have this story of this old retired superhero called he was the Frontiersman, and he was sort of a social justice superhero in some way. He was very concerned with the ecology of our world, the environment, and he fought for the environment and stood up for the environment. But he fought supervillains, and he was very famous, and he wears a coonskin cap backwards with holes cut into it, and he has a big beard, and he wears a leather fringed jacket and big leather boots, and he carries a hammer axe kind of thing. But he's retired now, and he lives in the woods off the grid, and he's sort of just doesn't really want anything to do with any of that any longer. But this young man who is a eco warrior activist comes looking for him and asking him to join their cause, and they don't want him to be a superhero necessarily. They don't want him to go fight anyone. They want him to be more of a symbol, and they want to save the giant redwoods, and they want him to come and stand in like protest on the top of a giant redwood that a corporation is threatening to shut down. And he doesn't really want to. He's not really interested in it, and it sort of leads him to kind of go into his past and talk to some people from his past and sort of search his feelings about it. It was interesting in a couple of ways. One, like, I have a tendency when anything that is sort of granola-ish, crunchy, sort of Portland, Oregon, activist kind of thing. I'm a natural cynic, and I kind of balk at stories about that kind of stuff, because I often find it to be so simplistic and ham-fisted and just sort of like anytime I think you write a story with an agenda, in the sense of like trying to be and unfortunately it's trying to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like trying to like
It
change.
reminds me of one of my favorite convention stories with you. Whenever we were in Seattle, and we walked, we were at a hotel at the top of this hill. If you've ever been in Seattle, it's a very hilly city down to the Pike's Place. And so we walked all the way from our hotel all the way down, did the whole Pike's Place thing, and we're walking up this like 30-degree fucking hill, and we get about halfway, and it's outside of this little shop. There's a Greenpeace person trying to get people to sign up for Greenpeace, and we all stop because we're just fucking out of breath and got to take a break. And you stop, and the Greenpeace gal comes up and starts talking to you, and you're just nodding and nodding, and we're catching our breath, and then you just look at her and say, "Hey, lady, I'm sorry, I was just taking a break. I gotta go."
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to people. Obviously, I think it's noble to try and help and change the world and do things, but my natural cynicism leads me to believe that a lot of it is just wasted effort, and I think that it's a lot of it is a waste of time, that people do more to make themselves feel better about themselves than to really affect any change. But that's a whole but what I liked about this book is that I didn't think it was simplistic. I thought it was actually interesting because it took a lot of different sides of these issues and sort of discussed it in different ways. And it didn't have one perspective on, and it didn't try and tell you what was right or wrong. It didn't try and force you to think a certain way. It, it gave you different characters that had different perspectives on the subject, including the main character who wasn't necessarily that interested in doing this any longer, that had spent a lifetime doing it and didn't really see much point in doing it any longer. But at the same time, at the end of the book, he sort of realizes that maybe he can help, maybe he can do something, and he does get involved. And so I really did like it. It's a little goofy, but I think it's intentionally a little goofy. Like it's sort of but
embraces
from an art,
what it is. Yeah.
it embraces what it is. It doesn't try to like I said, the thing I appreciated the most is that it wasn't simplistic in its perspectives. It wasn't just being like, trees are good, we have to save the trees. We have to, and forcing some sort of opinion on you. It was like, no, you're like, is this a good idea? Can you affect change? Obviously we all like, I would be the first person to sit there and go, hey, if we can save trees, that's a good thing. Save the environment, affect change. But the reality of doing that, there is so complicated that it's hard to necessarily justify standing in a tree. You know what I mean? Like for hours, but I appreciated the fact that this made me even think about that. It made me even think about my own ideas on, or concepts on that sort of thing, on activism. So it was good. It was at the same time, it wasn't like it was some sort of preachy book. It was a fun comic book. It was a superhero comic book, and it was, and it had plenty of action, and there was a lot of conversation, but there was also, plenty of fun moments and action moments and superhero-y moments and flashbacks to when he was a hero and that kind of thing. So I was very impressed by it. In something that I would probably, like, my initial feeling on it was probably pretty negative going into it. Like, my baggage going into it was probably like, okay, this is gonna be, yeah, exactly. Like, whatever.
All right, whatever. Yeah.
All right, you fucking hippies, whatever. But no, I by the end of it, I was like, okay, that was pretty good. So if they can win me over, I would imagine a lot of people might like it. So yeah, it was cool. was all right.
It's a nice little comic book.
Nice little comic booky.
It's a nice comic book you got there. Be a real shame if something happened to it.
Did anyone watch the Many Saints of Newark or whatever the fuck that Sopranos movie?
Yeah.
Prequel. No, I have not yet.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's so
sort of unnecessary.
It was. I thought I turned it off. I didn't even finish it. I thought it was terrible. I was just like, this is a terrible, terrible movie. Which was surprising because it was written by the same guy who wrote all the Sopranos.
I was just like, it was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I was sort of like, like it has like an air of like, I don't know, it's like, and maybe in comics we're just extra used to this, where it's like, now we need to know the origin of this, and we need to know what happened with that, and it's like, not really, I don't care. Like, I don't need to, like, how did Wolverine, get, when did he first get his hair cut that way? And it's like, Star Wars has that a little bit too, where it's like, got to fill in all the gaps and put everything in there. And it's sort of like, and sometimes that can be fun, and sometimes it can be just kind of like unnecessary.
Yeah,
and just feels like really like
Star Wars actually probably does it as well as anybody. Though.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just
Bad Batch.
I don't know.
That.
It's always tough when you have something so substantial as the starting point. And then, or, like The Sopranos is like a great TV show, and it has like a lot of drama, and it's very, like I said, it's got like, it's got a substantial feel to it. And then you have this thing that just doesn't have that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like,
I think part of it is it's a movie. It's only 2 hours when you had, whatever, 7 seasons of The Sopranos, and then you're trying to shove sort of the same feeling and emotional content in a 2-hour movie, and it's just like you're cutting a lot of corners. Like, I don't.
Can you believe The Sopranos debuted 22 years ago? Does it feel like it was 22 years ago that The Sopranos?
No,
right?
I will say that casting wise, visually, some of the characters were amazingly well casted. Like the woman that played Tony Soprano's mother. Who's, I don't know the actress name, but she was in like the Bates Motel show, which was very good. But visually, the way they made her look was interesting because she looked so much like Tony's wife in the show. I don't know, I can't think of the actress's name again, but
Nurse Jackie.
It was interesting that it was like, oh, she looks so much like her. And then some of the other actors too. It was just like, oh, okay, that was, but it almost became like a cliche or something, like weirdly, you're like, okay, yeah, that's that's him when he's young, or that's him
like a weird cover band.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like
it's
like
Iron
it's
Dragon.
kind of like the thing I like, I guess, but not quite.
Not quite there.
Maybe taking itself a touch too seriously.
Yeah, it was odd. And also I started thinking a lot like, it's got to be getting harder and harder to make period pieces. Like film, like stuff that's made in this, it's supposed to be film, like,
I think they're running out of cars.
Well, it's sets and cars and buildings and places where you can sort of film, that stuff, that's supposed to be in the 50s or, and it's just like,
I mean, it used to be like in Chicago, you could do a 1970s Chicago, film and be on one of like the L platforms, but now they've all been redone, so they don't look like they're from the set. That's Payback.
You got to go back and undo them.
Yeah, well, like Payback is one of my favorite all-time films, and it it never really establishes the time period in that movie, and they shot most of that in Chicago. And there are scenes on a couple L platform that platform hadn't been redone in 20 years, so that kind of, you know, aided that feeling. You couldn't do it anymore.
We need the urban blight for film purposes, cinematic purposes. Damn it, we can't.
And these nice looking platforms, they need to look
Yeah.
like shit for the purposes of this film.
Mhm.
Hell. What
More
else?
Rust Belt cities where things really have changed.
Yeah, well, you can go up to Buffalo, I think, and
Yeah.
you can get some shots there.
Still looks like shit there.
Toledo.
No offense if fine people in Buffalo, but I've been to Buffalo.
Yeah, it's rough. It's Ruffalo. Oh, hey.
Oh.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Chris, did you read anything this week, Chris?
Yeah,
you bring anything?
Bigby versus
you
Batman.
All right.
Okay, I'll admit I started playing Metro Exodus. I'm sorry.
What the fuck is that?
It's a video game.
Oh my goodness!
Based on a series of novels by a Russian. It's a Russian post-apocalyptic first-person.
I thought you were post-apocalyptic.
We talked about this on ACTV,
Yeah.
and I said, yeah, I'm kind of done with post-apocalyptic. And I said, oh, of course, I just started playing a post-apocalyptic video game. I can't get away from it.
Chris, you gotta live in the pre-apocalyptic real world.
Yeah, we're getting there. You're gonna be post-apocalyptic. Soon enough.
But speaking of ACTV, that is one of our Patreon programs. And you get that and Tom versus. He's doing Tom versus Freedom Fighters, Sal's Big Geek Show, and I think we have a new Patreon that you wanted to give a.
We do, yes. Andrew N. Andrew, I don't want. Should I say last names? Is that I don't know if it does it.
Nah, don't.
Okay, Andrew N. Thank you so much. New patron this week, just signed up today actually. So thank you so much for being a patron of Around Comics and supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. Thanks.
The next Freedom Fighters issue is a Halloween themed one.
Ooh, perfect timing.
And then the one after that is a
Thanksgiving.
No, it's a crazy Christmas one.
Okay. I appreciate
it was
over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, it was coming out every 2 months back then, so there was no Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
Mm.
I haven't done any Big Geek Show episodes this week, but
not angry enough.
I just didn't have. Yeah, there wasn't anything.
No grist for the mill.
I didn't listen to the episode, but what's the whole Elvira thing that you were pissed off about?
I wasn't pissed off. I just thought it was funny that people were pissed off. I
wasn't. Were pissed off about Elvira?
Well, it's like anything else. Who knows? Maybe like two people, but there. but Elvira, she just came out with a memoir, and so part of the, I would assume, the PR to get people to to pay attention to a book by an octogenarian that it was that she revealed in the memoir that she's been in a relationship with a woman for 19 years.
Yeah.
And so she is bisexual or something. People were.
God, is she in her 80s? That's amazing.
Nah, I think she's in her 70s.
Cassandra Peterson. I'm very familiar with Elvira. I had to write a radio commercial once for her.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
She's
I love Elvira. I've always loved that character. I think she's hilarious.
She is the mistress of the night.
Yeah,
she used to appear at Knott's Berry Farm during Halloween.
Yes.
Tried to write a radio spot. She rewrote it in her own unique.
Well,
Elvira voice.
Her brand. Yeah.
I do not understand. I'm not obviously as intimately knowledgeable with the Elvira brand as Elvira herself.
Well, how could you be?
How could you be? It's impossible.
She rewrote your.
That's funny. My thing was though, I just thought it was funny that like people were upset because like, oh my god, I can't believe, I'm like, really? You mean this woman who pretends to be a vampire from the
Yeah.
50s has been lying to
Right?
you?
See,
You know,
yeah. Yeah, she's fucking made up.
no!
It's like,
Like, what are you angry about?
yeah.
Yeah, I just
Wait
thought
till
it was
they find
funny.
out about Svengoolie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I just made the joke of like I was
Ned
like
the Dead.
I'm like, listen, I don't know how my dick is gonna recover from losing this octogenarian from my spank bank. Thank God Betty White still likes the dick.
Yeah.
Like that's all I could, it's like, come on, guys. Really? You're upset about Elvira? Who gives a shit? It's let her, whatever. But yeah. No, I love Elvira. I've always been a big fan of Elvira.
Yeah. My favorite pinball machine.
Is the Elvira pinball machine? I
Huh.
don't know. I don't know if I
Yeah,
have
it's a
one.
fantastic pinball machine.
Was it based upon one of their late 80s movies?
There may have been some of that in
A
there.
movie tie-in pinball machines always.
Yeah, because those
A
were
hit.
always. It was the Elvira pinball machine, and every once in a while at some of the newer art barcades, I'll find it, and it's still awesome.
Listen, I
And
don't think
is it maintained and working now? Because that's the sign of a true good barcade versus a fucking garbage ass barcade.
No,
Where
the
like
ones
half
I've put with Emporium in Chicago.
yeah.
yeah.
I think they had one. Yeah, and that's a good
I just went to Galloping Ghost.
Oh,
My son's birthday, he wanted to take his friends somewhere, and I offered
Huh.
that as a suggestion. And I was surprised, like all his friends wanted to go. And so I took
what'd they
them.
think?
They liked it. They had thought it was fun. They had a good time. We were there for 3 hours, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a blast playing all the old video games.
What are your favorites?
Geez, Joust is one of my
Nice.
favorites. I played I can't remember the name of it now. It's a robot football game.
Tecmo Bowl.
No, it's not Tecmo Bowl.
Oh.
It's one where like
Oh yeah, I know what you're
you
talking
can
about.
you
It's
can
like,
basically smash all
it's like
opponents.
Battle Bowl or
Something
something.
like that.
Something like that.
Battle
Yeah.
bots or something.
Yeah.
I like although I'm
go ahead.
terrible at it is what is the one? It's the Spy Driver.
Spy Hunter.
Spy Hunter. I suck at it, but the ones that I like now more than any of them is like House of the Dead, or there's a couple of Alien movie shoot 'em, any of the shooting ones
Yeah.
where you actually pick up a gun and shoot the screen. I love those. I think those, and I tried to play fucking Dragon's Lair again, and even though it's I can play as many times as I want, I still gave up because it's so hard.
It's like, fuck, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
God damn it.
I'm not gonna waste
Quit.
my time on this fucking game. I can't get past like 3 fucking screens. It's
That
impossible.
fucking thing ate my allowance so many times.
Oh yeah, but it was cool, man. That place has expanded. They have over 800 games now. It's insane. I mean, it's just it's overwhelming. It's so many games, but it was pretty cool. It was fun. And the kids seemed to enjoy it. So I was, like I said, I was surprised. I gave him like 5 options of things, and so he polled his friends of like, okay, what do you guys want to do for my birthday? Here's like 5 options, and they ended up settling on Galloping Ghost Arcade. Yeah, old.
Nice.
I might take my son there.
I mean, it's $20 and you can play as much as you want.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And there's so many games like, I had to wait a few times to play some of the,
the hot games,
but not really. I did an arm wrestling game. I set the record on an arm wrestling game.
Oh,
yeah.
Do they have new games? Because I went to a couple of arcades and I was shocked and amazed that they had like actual new games that were probably
no, I didn't see anything.
These are all retro.
I mean, they had some stuff that's newer, but I would say like everything is from at the newest, like the 90s, probably. Nothing I mean, like Mortal Kombat is some of the newer
Yeah.
stuff there.
X-Men, the video game, the 4-person.
Oh god, yeah.
Always a
I mean,
good
they
one.
have everything. They have obscure games. Like there was one game I had never seen in my life. It was like some sort of alien shoot 'em up game.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it was um it was something to do with like lava or something, but the arcade case itself was built to look as if it was like falling over. So you'd walk up to it and it's like tilted, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, is this thing broken? Is this? But no, it was made like that. I'm like, I've never seen that before in my life.
That's cool.
I never. Yeah, they have all sorts of strange games there that I've never seen. I mean, but the nice thing now is they've sort of organized the place where they've clumped the similar type of games together. So, like,
That's
you'll
good.
have a whole row of shoot 'ems, or karate games. You have a whole row of sports games and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Puzzle when they keep the Cubert and the Donkey Kong together.
Yeah. Well, they have like 3 different Cuberts. They'll have like 3 different type of Tron machines. Tron's always been a game I liked. Yeah, they have everything. It's crazy. It's kind of nuts. But they have a whole separate room that you have to pay differently for, and I think it's cheaper, but it's all pinball machines.
Yeah, I think pinball's like $15.
Yeah. And it's a whole different room of pinball machines. So I didn't go in there. I can't imagine myself playing pinball for very long.
I love pinball, but like the pinball leagues and that kind of, like Ron Richards. That's one
He's
of
in
his
a pinball
passions.
league?
Oh yeah, he plays pinball all the time, or probably pre-kids. Played pinball all the time. Go to like pinball tournaments and stuff.
Really?
I mean, that's a whole subculture. It's a whole geeky subculture. Are pinball aficionados.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like disc golf. There's like a whole culture to it.
Well, we talked about this. Like, where's the disc golf, pinball? Is that below disc golf? You think, or above?
It's
Probably below.
I think more people know about pinball than they do disc golf.
Yeah, it's a weird. Hey man, whatever you're into, whatever people are into.
Absolutely.
We didn't get any live callers. I don't know if we didn't get enough people to live call in on the show. If you go to our Riverside page, you can do. I don't know. I don't think we're going to use this new setup. I don't like it as much.
It wasn't a total failure, but
no.
I like the StreamYard better.
Yeah, I think the StreamYard is better than Riverside. Sorry, Riverside. Yeah. You're cheap, but not as good.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how the audio turns out. Because if the audio's amazing,
it does sound good. It does sound very good. But yeah, I don't know.
See, these are the kinds of decisions that podcasters have to make.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. I suppose we do.
All right. Well, do we have anything else for this evening?
I don't think so.
All right. Would love to read a few listener emails, but you got to email us for that. You can do so by shooting off a message to info@aroundcomics.com. We also love to see comments in all the social media places. Blah blah blah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I did not have an email, but I did have someone message us a question.
There you go.
So, and I did reply already, but I'll just, for anyone else that maybe is interested. They asked if where our like first 100 episodes of Around Comics are at, where they can listen to them. I've been trying to slowly add those to the iTunes and the podcast feed so you can get them. I think I'm at like, I don't know where, like episode 120 or something like that. So I've been trying to, but it's just a matter of time.
We didn't even hit our stride until like the 25th, 26th episode. So don't worry about it.
Well, it's someone that was like, hey, well, but after I messaged the person, they got back to me and they were like, well, hey, I really love you guys. I was listening to you back in 2007, 2008 when I was in high school, and you changed my life.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
yeah, I
Hopefully
said,
for the better.
yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah.
You ruined my
He,
life.
he wrote that. He sent that message from prison.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully we didn't fuck whoever that was up too badly. But yeah, so I'm trying to get those back up. It's just I need an assistant or something. I need a producer. That's what we need. I got too much to try and do. So trying to get them back up there eventually, slowly but surely. I have not put any up in a while just because I've been doing other stuff, but I'll try and get back on that and get some of the older up. But a lot of them are up there. I think we're down to like 100, like episode 120 and up. You can listen to something like that. So I just another 120 to go, and
There we go.
we'll have them all
Give you
back up
something
there.
to do. Winter's coming.
Yeah, I have so much free time.
Nice snowy day. Just sit back and upload episodes of Around Comics. That's what I want to do on a snowy Saturday.
Oh, good. Well, then I'll let you do it.
All right. So, real quick before we go, everyone's World Series pick.
The White Sox and
Brewers.
the White Sox and the Brewers.
White Sox Brewers are my pick for the World Series, and I am picking the Brewers to win the World Series.
What, you son of a
Wow.
I like their pitching.
The year of Milwaukee, the year of Wisconsin.
And I just want to see the East Coast and West Coast just their heads explode, knowing that the NBA and MLB champions are from fucking Milwaukee.
You've already turned on
These coastal
all of
elites.
Yeah, you've just turned on all your former teams. You're now a Brewers fan, a Bucks fan. It's only a matter of time you're going to be wearing a Packers jersey and a cheese head. It's only a matter of time.
No, I'm still a Cardinals fan. I recognize that their pitching staff is not good enough to go through a playoffs and win a World Series.
We'll
next
see.
year. Next year.
We'll see.
This is just the year before the Cardinals dominate.
My White Sox are gonna average 11 runs a game in the
just don't give up 12.
Yeah.
Give up 12.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. You got closers, you're fine.
Yeah, we do. We got 3 closers, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, so there you go. So yeah, we're all shooting. I should have picked the Cardinals just to show that we all lead with our heart, but I won't because I understand. All right, so that'll take care of this week.
I'm getting a call from Alberta, Canada.
Really?
Yeah, hold on. Let me answer this live. I don't know who would be calling me. Hello.
I think it's probably about his car warranty.
I think it's a collect call.
Call from Alberta.
Whoa.
It's Hank Nazarbat because we influenced his life so much. He's in a Canadian jail trying to call you.
That was the weirdest thing. Yeah, there was like a collect call.
Help me.
Sal,
weird.
Help me.
I don't know.
Come get me. I'm in Canada.
I don't think they'll let me. I did just get my passport, so I could run up there, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Canadian.
All right. So send us all of your listener email from Alberta, Canada, among other places. We love it. Check out the Patreon stuff. Thanks again for all the patrons. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next Tuesday. Back to, I think, our old StreamYard setup. But
I think so. Yeah, I just wanted to try this out and see how it worked. And it sounds really good. You guys do sound extremely good. But yeah, I think StreamYard's just got. They're calling me back. Hold on a second.
You should take care of that. Whatever. Something's happening in Alberta, Canada.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
I gotta accept.
You want to do that?
Press 1.
I have to.
Voicemail, press 2.
It's gonna be a prison call.
All right. From Alberta?
Yeah. Answer.
Nah, that's right. If they call back a third time, I have to answer. All right, let's get this over with.
All right, so we'll be back next Tuesday. In the meantime,
In between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around comments. And not Alberta, Canada.
collect call. It's prison call.
It's a prison call.
That used to be a thing, right? You get like random collect calls and always be like, prison inmates.
Oh, they're calling me again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Find out.
Come on, who the fuck could be calling me? Pelton?
Put it on speaker.
Hello?
Hello, am I live?
Who's this?
This is Kelton. I'm calling about the Round Comics Live. I thought there was a call-in. I'm the guy who messaged you on Facebook that I listened 10 years ago. I was a huge fan.
Oh, this is so weird. Okay, this is Sal.
There's like some lag that I was trying to, I don't know, it wasn't answered. It was like on my end, it kept hanging up.
Okay, you are live. Weirdly enough, it called me on my cell phone, which I don't understand. I thought it would call on the
Or something, right?
yeah. But hey, what's going on?
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. You guys don't understand how much you guys meant to me back in the day. Like, seriously, you guys made my bus rides, my high school, my going to work, everything, comics, the way I looked at the world.
All right, well, let me.
The way
You're not calling from prison, right?
comics.
You're
Yeah,
not calling.
We were taking bets
I
that you were
got
calling
out of
from prison.
I got out of prison a couple years ago, No, I'm just joking.
You're a successful and a very happy person in the world. We're not to blame for some sort of strange life experience that you've gone through.
I'm a critically acclaimed filmmaker, indigenous filmmaker. I played those. Yeah, like you guys. Seriously, the way you guys broke down EC Comics back in the day, the interviews, the just. Oh my goodness! You know what's even crazy about this? Do you want to hear something crazy?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a long time ago when you guys had a call-in number. You guys had a call-in number for
Yeah.
comics to just leave a message. There was a guy who called and didn't realize that. Basically, I called and left a really fucked up message, thinking that it was a test. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was like on Around Comics. I don't even know what episode. I can't even remember. But it was like just me talking about like, hey, what's up? I watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie this weekend, and then I just went on a crazy spiel saying crazy stuff. Because I was going to re-record the message, but it sent it. I don't know if you remember this at all.
I don't remember, but
We had some
do you guys
interesting call-ins. So
I sort of remember that.
Tom says he
crazy right now to call you guys. Like I never thought in a million years. Like you don't understand. Up in northern Alberta, this indigenous kid just listening to Around Comics. Like you were like one of the first podcasts I listened to. You, Crankcast, Comic Book Queers, Word Balloon. Like man, the Crankcast. Where's Chris Tabor? I really wish that you guys could do another 24-hour podcast. I downloaded all those. I have
I'm too old. You
guys don't want to do that out.
That was when I was young and I could stay up. I literally did stay up for 24 hours, but I don't think
the whole thing.
I did the whole. But I was very young.
I can't stay up for like 12 hours now.
I would maybe be able to do it if I had enough coffee.
I'm wearing pajamas right now.
Oh my goodness, you guys seriously were getting lightning in a bottle. I loved all those episodes. Really, I even like. There's probably, man, I really appreciate you guys so much.
Oh well, thanks so much for calling and for listening all these years and yeah, it's great to know that you're not some sort of psychopath that we turned you into lunatic or something,
So-
or we ruined your life. We're
Well,
very happy
hey,
about that.
tell him that my dream is to come and curl in Alberta.
Chicago, like, are any of you kind of like working in comics? Do you guys still just love them for fun?
Yeah, no, none of us work in comics. We still read them. We love them. Tom and I are still in the Chicagoland suburbs. Chris is up in Milwaukee now, but we just
Are you guys close still to like Mike Norton and Crank and like Scotty Young and stuff? Or are you they kind of just been a long time?
I haven't talked to Crank or Mike in a while. I occasionally talk with Scotty online, but he's super busy and has a family and a giant career. And Tim Seeley, we get every once in a while comes back on the show, and
Hillary.
Seeley was awesome. I loved when you guys had Tim Seeley back in the day.
Tim's a good guy. But we're just kind of still doing just older and have more children and other than that same kind of.
Do you guys feel that comics was maybe in a weird post-millennium golden age when you guys like in your first 100 plus episode run, like compared to now, or do you think it's still as strong?
I think comics are probably better now than they were then. I think we were in I think it was a golden age of, not a golden age, but I think it was a really unique situation for us as fans to start a podcast. We were in a really, sweet situation of like, it was something new, and we kind of,
We elbowed our way into the conversation and like actually became a little itty bitty footnote, in the industry.
It's like this EC Comics hardcover about the history of it. Have any of you guys bought it? It's like $200 on Amazon.
I
I
haven't.
haven't bought it yet. I'm waiting for when it's on sale. But I don't know if you guys buy it, you should read it because I bet they might have stole your guys' stuff from the EC Comics episode because it was so thorough and that was so riveting. Your EC Comics breakdown just about the history of it, incredible.
Well, we probably stole it from somewhere else, so.
In classic comics fashion.
You know what? You guys have made my night, and I really I don't know, brought so much joy to my life back then. So much joy, and I really appreciate everything you guys did, and I'm still listening now. And yeah, thanks. What made you guys want to start the podcast up again?
Bored.
Boredom. No. It was I don't know.
I missed it.
Yeah, we just missed talking to each other more than anything, I think, was what it was. I think the three of us recognized that we had a really good chemistry together, and we liked talking to each other, and it was easy. And more than anything now, it's more about us just wanting to talk to each other than anything else. I mean, podcasting is just an excuse almost to kind of force us to get together and talk about this stuff. But it's different now than it was then, for sure.
Yeah, and it took us a little while to find that.
I hope you guys really know that you really, really touched me back in the day and really made me feel awesome. I loved every episode. Like, there was literally, I think you had the guy on who, what did he make? He wasn't doing IDW. He was, I think it was, what did Tim Seeley Hack Slash come out on? Do you remember what company
the local company. What?
Devil's Due?
Devil's Due Publishing.
Devil's Due. There's an episode where you had an interview with the guy who made Devil's Due, and he was talking about like making a superhero about a potato, and he's like, if somebody sends that to me, I'll publish it. Like, it was just such a joking thing, but I swear I almost submitted Tuberman just to send him that podcast episode and be like, you got to do it.
Oh, that was Eric Larson.
But seriously.
Oh, really?
I hope.
Yeah, that was Eric Larson.
Well, it because he was like, it was just like a joking thing you guys were talking about. Sorry, I'm fangirling right now, but like, or fanboying right now, but like, just want to say, if you guys ever feel down, if you ever feel blue, know that you brought so much joy to my life. Know that.
Well, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
That with you, man.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, thank you so much from all of us. That's you know, I mean, that was I think I can speak for all of us when it was like that was always such a bonus to us doing the show, of the idea that anybody wanted to listen to us, that anybody wanted to tune in every week and pay attention to anything that we said, was something that was really special. And I think, you know, we still appreciate, you know, people are still listening, and yeah, we really do appreciate everybody that always listened to us all these years.
Well, from my heart, I say thank you. I'll let you guys go here, but you know, just hey, as an Indigenous person, if you can check out some Indigenous comics sometimes, do that. Support my race, and you know.
All right.
And yeah, guys.
Send us some links.
Cool.
Send us some info on any. If you know of any, send them to us for sure.
All right, we'll do. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
Cool.
Okay, hold on. When you say goodbye, can you just say to me in and around comics?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chris, you have to, Chris. I can't possibly.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. And in the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around comics.
Oh my God, that was crazy. You guys are legendary. All right, bye.
Bye, man. Okay, so I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that. I'm like, I thought that the system worked, that the call-in would come in
through the app.
Through the app. I didn't realize that it came in on my phone.
Colette
which is
Alberta.
From Alberta, yeah. I'm like, who's calling me from Alberta? But I'm glad I finally picked up. That was great. That was funny that he was listening live as we were talking about him. So there you go. Yeah. Kind of crazy. Well, we already ended the show, but a little bonus there.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah. Kind of cool. All right, guys. Well,
I'm not doing the outro again.
Okay, that's it. We're gone.
That's it.
We're really gone this time.
Now we're done for real.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.